Hey guys, Mystic here, and you're watching part 1 of a 6-part podcast. And remember to use the playlist down in the description below in order to easily navigate to the next parts. And the last thing before we get started is a little content warning about swearing. There is a little bit of it in this podcast to all of those who may be concerned. With that being said though, I hope you enjoy. Alright, well, welcome everybody to the Deltacast. Glad to have you all here. So, this is going to be a 7-part podcast with 1 part on each person's channel, and we're going to be discussing the new Deltarune status update as well as the Spamton Sweepstakes lore. And that being said, we have some of the most talented Deltarune content creators here today to really dive into Deltarune's lore, so why don't we get started with introductions? Let's go down the Discord list. Andrew, you want to start us off?
Oh hey, yeah, that's me. I'm Andrew Cunningham. I've done some Deltarune videos, one Undertale video recently, and I'm very excited to be here. This is the first collab podcast I've been on.
Okay, nice. I'll give Brett some time to put in a Texas speech. So, Dork, do you want to go next?
Hi, I'm Dorked, the creator of the Undertale webcomic Inverted Fate, as well as a lot of Deltarune and Undertale video essays, including a 42-minute essay about Alphys. Sup.
Nice. Alright, Jaru?
Hey, I am a fanfictionist disguised as a theorist, and I make YouTube videos about it. It's a pleasure to be on.
Outside?
Outside.
Outside, Mark.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm more of a hobbyist theorist. I made 2 videos, one about Deltarune, one about Undertale, and honestly, I'm surprised I'm even here.
Alright, we're glad to have you. Shayy?
Hello, everybody. I'm your favorite Undertale / Deltarune / Undertale fan game / whatever speedrunner. I post a lot of content and speedruns and stuff, and I put absolutely all my effort into editing my videos, just 100%.
Alright, nice.
I haven't seen your videos, so I'm just going to take that as truth.
As we all know.
I definitely don't just upload my Twitch streams to YouTube or anything like that.
That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy.
No one does that.
I've seen your Among Us edit. That was pretty high effort.
Do you mean the one that you put in your video?
Yeah, that's why I stole it, because it was...
Okay, Bread?
Oh, yeah, Bread.
Hello, Deltarune. My robot exploded the moment we started this stream, so now I'm using a different robot. Oh no, the cat comes for my keyboard.
That is not what they wrote, apparently. It's close. Okay.
The cat came for their keyboard, obviously. Like...
The cat came for the keyboard.
Dang, let me try again. Hello, my name is Bread. I theorize about Deltarune using TTS.
Alright, there we go. So
TTS got eaten.
yeah, that was rough. So the first topic
so
here.
So now we're using a different one. Don't make fun, okay, guys?
Yes, there's an extensive origin story to all the TTS bots we've been through to get to where we are now, so no one complain, damn it.
It's very Highlander. Yeah. We had the TTS bots battle to the death to decide which one would get to be in the video.
Yeah, we had a huge tournament going on. So, I guess we'll just get into the first topic here. The initial...
This one poisoned the real winner.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, it actually just killed them off. But yeah, the first topic was the initial Deltarune status update before things like really got crazy with the whole Spamton Sweepstakes stuff. So I know the initial the big thing of it was the green room, but also the thing that I like the first important thing from my eyes was the Shadow Man. I know that like a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, who is he? Like, is it a silhouette? Like, is he important? I thought he was gonna be super important, but I don't know what you guys thought.
I never once thought he was important. I thought, oh, okay, here's a cool character, like stylized looking shadow character who's gonna be another, one of the normal enemies. But everyone on my Twitter was like, no, Toby is hiding his true appearance to distract us from the truth.
I figured because it was on the stage with a whole bunch of other like random NPCs / mini bosses that it would be either a random NPC or a mini boss. So that was my logic anyway.
Yeah, I kind of had a similar thought. I thought that, this might be one of the mini-bosses in either Chapter 3 or 4, but given the kind of performance vibe and sort of mobster look, hey, this could be one of the TV genres that you experience in the chapter.
Yeah.
I'm lucky I got a sprite artist right before this. I recognized what an early design sprite looks like.
Wait, you mean...
So the Shadow Man was basically like an early design sprite, is what you're saying, or
it's blatantly not a
or
design sprite.
Or not
It
a
looked
design
that
sprite.
way.
I was under the
okay.
impression that they had
Gotcha.
like blacked out the characters so we
Like
didn't know
it
what they
looks
looked
like an outline.
You know what?
Yeah, it's like the guy's outline, but then...
Oh yeah, I see. It's hard not to go ahead because like we've gotten more Shadow Man content in the Sweepstakes ARG, of course, and
Sure.
am I crazy?
Spriters often do the outline first.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, as a pixel artist myself, I can vouch that sometimes when you're making sprite art, you will either kind of do a sketch or an outline or like a really crude kind of mock-up sprite. Toby did that quite a bit. Like if you go to Spriter's resource, you can find a really beta art for Chapter 2, including a really scribbly Queen's Castle mansion.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've seen the Undertale beta art's pretty funny. Maybe we're talking about Toby here though. He's sort of a very economical artist. Maybe he just did that and decided, oh, this looks pretty good. I'll keep it that way. This fits the vibe.
Oh yeah, I mean, the original Starwalker is like copy pasted from his original sketch. So,
and Burger Pants too. I think was made like that.
Yeah.
Thank God, Burger Pants is a blessing.
Some of the best artwork, honestly. But I was going to ask, am I crazy that the first thing I thought of when I saw the Shadow Men in the sort of TV themed area was those like guys in black skin suits on the Jerma Dollhouse stream that made stuff work behind the scenes and were supposed to be invisible on camera? Like, I
did think of that.
It's just like kind of the stage hands, the behind the scenes guys, maybe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, my immediate thought was that it was supposed to be like some sort of homage to like old black and white.
That's probably true. I'm probably just going off in a rant about Jerma for no reason. But
just the other day, I was doing a speedrun of Deltarune, and I was at the end of the game, and you know how it ends in the final room, as the great room. In the windowsill, there's a bunch of like dark action figures, and someone was like, "What if those are the Shadow Men?" I was like,
That would actually make a lot of sense, because those
one of them has a
figures-
gun for some reason. I'm thinking like maybe Chris has like a little one of those like green army soldier toys from Toy Story.
That would make a lot of sense. Then the question I guess would move to what are those action figures and where did they come from? But I'm sure we'd find out if that was the case. But I think that's pretty likely.
Because like the thing immediately
Where are these action figures? Are they in the?
They're in the windowsills behind the TV.
Yeah, they're all over the house, too. Let me just Google image that. Dreamer house.
Yeah, I'll look for myself. I don't know if we're doing graphics, but
yeah, we'll have to edit any graphics in post.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Well, I just thought I'd throw it in the chat for, like, people who just want a quick reference.
Oh, yeah.
The Dreamer living room. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just every once in a while, something like that comes up where somebody in my chat will say something smart, and I'm like, "Wait a minute, what? That's intelligent."
Yeah.
Once in a blue moon.
Always a surprise on Twitch, yeah.
But yeah, what I was gonna say was that it immediately reminded me of all the action figures that Papyrus has in Undertale. It's got a table filled with them. So
here's a random Google image that I just yoinked of the house. It's not like the best quality, but like you can see some of them. They're in all of the windows basically.
Oh yeah,
it's
actually pretty good.
Yeah, it is pretty weird looking.
Oh,
one of them looks kind of like Ice Wolf.
Okay.
So we were just talking about the action figures in the Dreamer house and how those might be connected to the Shadow Men. If Brad wanted to say anything about that.
Ahem, I was trying to say. I told you guys would want a TV to put images. I told you, dog.
We can still have the TV. Don't worry.
Yeah, we'll have the TV in post. Yeah, I honestly think that the shadow figures in the window, like, that's a super good guess, obviously, since it's in the Chapter 3 Dark World is going to be in the whole house. I think that is a pretty darn solid guess for what they actually are.
It's so fun to imagine, like, all these, like, bits of the household being new enemies, like the cactus.
Oh yeah, flowers
the
in the trash can.
Most Sprite revealed wasn't the shadow figure. To me, it was the couches.
Oh yeah.
I think I want to say I posted literally like frame 1 the moment the image came out. I was like, "This looks like Chris's bedroom." Like,
yeah, I think
I think everybody realized
so
that.
Much lore.
Yeah.
I guess it's a weird question, but I've been thinking about the range of the living room fountain. If it includes basically the whole house up to the Chris's room and maybe Torio's room, or is it just the living room?
That basically confirms it's the whole house if we get Chris's bedroom in there, because it seems like it's a less literal interpretation in that case, because like it doesn't necessarily mean that the bedroom is going to have its own room in the dark world. It could just be that various assets from the house are sort of scattered about.
Yeah, I kind of think that's going to be the case, because you can see some things, like there's shelves full of alcohol and a random mouse, as well as some knives and stuff, and some cactuses, and those are in the hallway outside the bedroom, so there's definitely some creative liberties taken with how everything is positioned.
Yeah.
The mouse can be
I disagree.
Asriel's computer mouse.
Yeah, somebody pointed that out to me, like, right after it got posted. I was like, that's so smart. Of course the mouse is the computer mouse, but...
What do you think, Half-Bread?
I think the red box looks like the entertainment station beneath a TV. It explains the mouse.
Entertainment?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
interesting.
And the couches. They look like clothes.
Oh, interesting.
I did notice one of them was green, kind of like the shirts.
Like if someone dropped their coat or something.
Oh, that's actually a really good point.
Yeah, that's an Asriel-ass looking coach,
and it ended up in the couch or under it.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I did always
green striped shirts.
Yeah, and I always did think it was odd how bright red that little doily or whatever it is under the TV is, because it's like it stuck out to me.
It explains the wires. It's near the ceiling.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the wires connecting the box to the TV.
Oh yeah, that's a really good observation too.
Oh, and you know what? That would make a lot of sense, like, in, like, the in-universe, like, whatever the Dark World logic is. It's like the green room would be immediately adjacent to the place where the performance would be, which would be the television. So that actually makes a lot of sense.
Exactly.
Huh.
Side note, and this is just a pixel artist nitpick, but I'm noticing the kind of shader effect on the floor is mixed compared to everything else, and I didn't notice it until someone pointed it out to me, and now I can't unsee it.
Oh yeah. Don't worry about it. It's that classic Undertale, we don't really give a shit about the pixel art kind of vibe. It's it'll look like whatever you want it to.
I think it might move.
Oh yeah, I think that's entirely possible, that it'll be like an animated shader effect, and so when it's in still, it's more noticeable. But it could be like a sunlight effect.
Yeah, it kind of looks like it looks more like a shader that operates like underneath the transparent floor.
Yeah,
and would like move around. Because otherwise it has no real reason to be, what it is.
And something I'd like to point out, because like it's really easy to miss, but in the actual living room, kitchen, dining room, that whole area, like if you look towards the bottom of the screen, you can see like the edge of the dining room table. But like in terms of 3-dimensional space, that implies like there's this whole section of this like downstairs area that we're not seeing. So... like there could be all sorts of stuff over there that we're just not privy to.
I just noticed something else.
I think it's unlikely that anything that is not on screen will have a big effect on.
Yeah, that wouldn't really have a precedent in just like hiding stuff off camera. I think the idea is that the couch and the table are shoved up against the wall down there, and so it's just like we can't see the very edge of it.
It's a weird table if that's the case, but whatever.
I just
Gotcha.
noticed there's 2 armchairs next to the TV as well, and that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what the couches are, but that is worth noting. There's 2 chairs as well as the couch, and the Book of Hymns.
And one of them is very clearly from Undertale
I would
because
guess
it looks
those
worse
are the
than
2
the rest
doors,
of
if
this fight.
anything.
Oh, that's an interesting
The chairs?
interpretation.
I would actually say that, remember in Undertale, Toriel's armchair is well used.
Nah,
but,
the tables.
oh, the tables, okay. But as Asgore's in his house is described as being cracked with age or something. So maybe if like that right-hand armchair is Asgore's and no longer gets used, it's sort of now the cracked one. It could still be Chris's bed, though. I think that's just as likely.
Keep in
Yeah.
mind also that, like,
I'm excited to meet Cheriel, the beloved living room chair.
For sure.
I hope
My-
Cheriel is a Darkner. That would be amazing.
My
keep in
dream
mind that,
is
like, each room doesn't necessarily need to represent one specific thing. It could be multiple things.
Yeah.
that's... I'm
But
getting the idea
I look
that...
at the couches and I really do think of Azrael and Chris, right? Like, you have the green
Yeah.
stripes on the one, and it's neat, and the other one's cracked, and it's
Yeah, that's
true.
why I'm more into the idea that the house has been sort of scrambled and made abstract across the space, because that's both more interesting and it
Well,
requires
that's kind
a
of
bit
what
less,
the other Dark Worlds do too, right?
yeah,
Like, we
they
don't
do.
actually
Very
move through the
point
literal
shade.
layout. We don't move through the literal layout of the computer lab. It's just kind of
Yeah.
True.
some things are there
Yeah.
that are in the
There's
room.
Plus-
It's
there's
not like
that-
chapter 1 where the layout was like perfectly matched to the room.
Yeah.
There is that one that pretty funny. I think it's a joke post that the kitchen. I think it's like, I don't know it, but the kitchen is like a fridge, then a sink, and then a stove, and then some theorize. Oh, that's what is it?
The layout of
It's-
Undertale?
it's the layout of Undertale, and it's very funny. But,
That is
that's just
insane.
Yeah.
Something,
I remember seeing that post now. I remember that.
Yeah, that was quite a while ago. Something
Yeah.
I want to draw quick attention to, back to the image that had the Shadow Man, but I find it interesting that only 2 of the 3 Sweet Cap and Cakes trio are on the stage, and then you have Task Manager and the Shadow Man, so, like, where's their buddy?
They
He
broke
died.
up.
He had a
That's kinda
tragic death.
weird.
He had a
Yeah.
tragic death scene.
Ran out of batteries, actually. Just gone.
But yeah, and thinking about it, it's almost silly to try and pin the layouts of the Dark World, because it's like one dark, like the Card Kingdom was huge, but it was stretched out across one tiny room, and this is a multi-floored house with multiple separate rooms, so it's like
It's
we could-
abstract, yeah.
Yeah, it's like trying
Yeah.
to be like, well, this one room represents the entirety of Chris's room or the entirety of the living room. It's like, oh, that's probably never gonna work.
Also,
Hmm.
in regards to where the other guy went, he either has to keep still running the shop, or I feel like he's going to be the guy that you talk to select the music.
Oh, that'd be a good idea.
That
Maybe
makes
he's
a
a-
lot of
Pretty
sense.
likely.
Wasn't
wonder
that, wasn't that
Now,
the player?
I've
Maybe
been
he's like
around the
picking
block
up
a couple of
chicks or
times
something.
with these types of games, but I feel like this might be a sound test.
That actually fits. Actually, what I'm noticing is because it has the tables like the cafe, my guess now is that the cafe kind of is bigger now, because if you look to the right of the image, you can see a bit more floor that's like off to the side, so I think there's like going to be a side room with a stage, but then there's probably going to be some other stuff you can do as you expand the town.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
very Animal Crossing.
It's
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah, I
be
was
like,
about to
hey,
say.
hey,
I
boss,
was
we
gonna
built this cool
suggest he's
stage.
recording the performance, but I like that theory is better.
Mm.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Andrew?
Oh, I said it's gonna be like, oh, we came back, and they're like, oh, hey, boss, we built this new stage while you were gone. Pretty radical, eh? And the
Yeah,
buildings are
right.
gonna keep getting bigger without ever like changing appearance on the outside.
Also, that smooth animation, just gotta shout out Tummy and the rest of the artists
That
on the
is
game.
very smooth.
I love the
Well, it's-
dichotomy between Task Manager's smooth animation and Shadow Man's 3 frames of animation.
He's going full Homestuck over there.
Also, I'm
Crisp 3 frames.
And KK's got a really simple animation too. Like he's just kind of hitting his symbol, then flipping. So that's a pretty
Yeah.
simplistic one.
That's 2 frames. Yeah, it's
The stilted animation of the Shadow Man might very well be intentional, though. It's kind of like if it is TV themed, we might see like 12 frames per
Oh,
second
yeah.
animation
Yeah.
going on.
yeah.
True.
Yeah.
That
And
that's like basically just Toby's style to me, though. It's just like
Yeah.
wildly varying levels of quality for all the art assets in the game,
Right.
like, next to each
And
other.
it's just right next to each other, yeah.
And like Lancer, like I never noticed until it was pointed out in the Toby Fox stream, but that he literally doesn't have a walk animation.
He just slides.
Yeah, he just slides.
I
Basically
admire
just
that about
T-posing.
his work.
Yeah, he actually made a walk cycle, if I recall correctly, but then they just decided it looked funnier if he slid, so they just used that
it was like,
instead.
yep.
I admire
wheelies.
that mindset. Like, this looks worse, but it's funny, so it goes in.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta just
It
embrace
gives me
the...
permission to mess up sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Something else I'd like to draw attention to, at the very start of the page, you have the text, "After the dark night, the sun shines brightly." So I'm thinking that the end of chapter walk-around segment, rather than being in the evening, is going to be in the morning this time, and that's really interesting.
Because the Dark World would be overnight while they were sleeping, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That
agree.
makes sense to me.
That
Oh,
does seem
speaking
likely,
of
but
that.
I'm not quite sure of like what that would really change. I'm kind of curious to see like what kind of like impacts that would have on the normal like kind of light world walking around section if it's in the morning rather than the evening. But I guess we'll see. It's kind of hard to tell right now.
If anyone's ever
I
played a
definitely
Persona
do.
game, then... Oh, go ahead, Shay.
I do think the screenshot in the diner's
If
probably
you
from chapter
export
4,
the
though.
files, you can see 2 overworld images, right?
Oh,
They're both
What do you
in
mean?
the same chapter, but
Yeah,
Oh,
actually,
yeah,
the diner
One
says
is
chapter
raining.
4.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
all
one
the
isn't.
true.
yeah.
Yeah, that was the first thing I
So
glommed
it
onto for
must
some
rain in the
reason.
middle of the chapter.
Was like, yeah, it's going to go from not raining to raining, which just sort of implies like 2 different phases of the overworld exploration. Like, unless there's just a
Yeah.
randomized weather system, which I can't really imagine in a game like this.
Who knows? Maybe
Yeah,
maybe the rainy day will affect the Dark World.
Oh
I
yeah,
have-
so yeah.
One
It's
theory
likely
I've
that-
seen is that chapter 4 will be entirely in the light world, which is interesting.
No, I think because the rain makes me think that pre Dark World is gonna be sunny, and then after the Dark World probably it's gonna start raining.
Yeah, there'd
I
have to be
could-
some
I could-
intermission.
That's kind of the line of thinking I was more along. I think it'd be... I have heard the, like, Chapter 4 is gonna be entirely in the light world thing, but a part of me, it just can't get my head around that quite. Like, it just feels kind of, like, not...
You know what?
Like, will
Yeah,
happen, but...
Obviously,
I
there's
don't-
no,
I don't-
like... go ahead.
Yeah, I don't see how that would work. I don't know, gameplay wise.
Well, I think
I-
there's no, like, super concrete evidence you can point to now, of course, because you only have, like, a couple screenshots, but I could see it, like, maybe pacing-wise, because I've been waiting for sort of, like, a pattern break to happen, like, chapter by chapter going into Dark Worlds, then you have your segment. If we had, like, a little short intermission chapter that was just overworld things happening, that would be a nice break in the pacing, I think, but beyond that, yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah,
some-
because it's probably a bit exhausting having adventure day after day after day for the heroes, so...
Yeah, something
Yeah.
I
could
noticed...
see Toby doing that if the story called for it.
Mm-hmm,
It would be a good
definitely.
way to, like, efficiently get in some kind of, not lore, but, like, some more information into the story that would be hard to do with the usual format if you wanted to, like, suddenly exposit a bunch.
Yes.
We suddenly learn a whole bunch more about one of the families, for example, or...
Exactly.
I don't know. I don't particularly feel this is likely.
Something that kind of raised my eyebrows, and I tweeted about this, was the police station has a closed sign in
Yeah.
the raining screenshot. And what I'm wondering is, like, is that because Undyne and Bluky, assuming they both went to the Chapter 3 Dark World, are they just, like, wiped out? Are they investigating? Or could it be a sign of perhaps some more Weird Route shenanigans?
Right?
Yeah, I
Potentially.
think Toby wants to, like, lead us into, like, oh my gosh, a weird route happened, and now, you know, Undyne's, you know, Toriel cooked Undyne or whatever, so the police station is closed, but I can honestly see it just being, like, out of pure, like, shock, or, like, you know, just investigation, rather than any weird route shenanigans. At least that seems more likely. From my
What is the
point of view.
thumbnail I'm thinking of? Was that Swanky Box with, like...
Yeah.
Undyne
on fire.
Yeah.
That was the best. Part of me thinks it would be really funny if it was closed just because the police station is so half-assed that they close on Sundays or something. You just can't call the cops.
I
You
mean,
know,
they
I
did
could
say they're
see
just
it.
eye
Ha ha
candy or
ha,
whatever.
agreed.
Yeah, that being in character. I don't think this is anything to do with the weird route. I don't think he'd use weird route screenshots in the default update.
That would be a spicy move.
I would assume that if it's like if there is a weird rat thing involving Undyne or whatever, like that the police station would be closed afterwards regardless, either because she's tired or because she's dead. So I don't think it would be like a weird route spoiler image per se.
Or she got sealed in the dark world like Kingdom Hearts and has to fight through it for 10 years and then returns.
And then everyone will blame Asgore for some reason.
Yeah.
By far, the best part of the diner screenshot is that I'm in it.
I mean,
true.
There you go.
Frog
I remember
yeah.
the update gets posted. I had hundreds of people like adding me on Twitter, like, "Hey,
Oh,
there
God,
he
did you do
is!"
Shayy? Look, yeah, crazy.
Oh man,
Forgetting that
Frogget
Frogget is like a
Sprite's pretty
character
cool.
in Undertale.
No
it's
way,
so-
it's Shayy from my favorite Twitch stream. Oh my gosh.
It's so blobby and hunched over. It's really cute.
Well,
I'm
let's
a
also-
jelly you get Frogget. He's so fun.
No, he is fun.
Oh, extremely.
I also can't merchandise him because
Oh
Yeah.
true.
Gotta ask for the
Ha
rights
ha
from
ha ha,
Toby.
true.
Gotta do a
getting
little
into
bit of
contact with
bargaining.
Toby Fox is a little bit difficult.
Yeah. Hey, Toby, can I just have the first character from the game you made, the really famous one? Can I
Hey,
have
I gotta
that?
make
Not
some
really.
merch, you know.
I've emailed him before.
I've
He
never been able to
replied.
get a response.
Oh, snap. He replied. Let's
Damn.
go.
Cloaked
I,
tuber,
I
half
mean,
bred chaos.
Yeah, my fans
like the,
keep
the
insisting
Susie
that I'm
rock
Toby
throwing.
Fox in disguise. So.
Yes. What I want to know is, will the rock throwing be a thing if you met with Onion-san, or is that specifically for playthroughs where you did not befriend Onion? Because if Onion is there and Susie throws the rock,
Yeah.
that's gotta stink.
My theory is that Onion-san has amnesia from all the head trauma that Susie has inflicted on him over the previous months from
Oh,
rock
no.
throwing.
Nah, yeah. It's,
Maybe
A
what's the deal with
theory.
Onion-san again? Isn't it like that you... I can never keep this straight. Can you see Onion-san in Chapter 2 when Susie's with you? I can only picture
Yes.
that when...
You can,
Yeah.
but she
Only
kind
if
of
you
just...
meet him in Chapter 1, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Susie
when you
will
meet-
just back off because she's like,
Yeah.
you do this thing. And then after you
Yeah.
meet with Onion-san, you can just hang out by the shoreline. So it could be that this is after you do your Onion-san thing, because when you stand still by the water and they sit down, that only happens after you've met with Onion.
Yeah.
Or if you
you're-
never met him in Chapter 1.
It's a different interaction, right? Interacting with the water and standing on that circle to summon Onion.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because the little diner image of Susie, she looks so cute, her sprite like kind of leaning over.
I know,
Yes.
like,
And
4 or 5 people who all changed their profile picture
Oh
on
yeah,
Discord
I'm
to
waiting
that
for like
sprite.
10
Yeah.
people on Discord to have that for the next 10 years.
it's so funny because like I I did my reaction to that and I was like, oh, she's so cute. And then the next day we got the story of her just utterly cruelly torturing Chris, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, wait a second, I forgot.
That
Hey,
was
enemies
a
to
fun
friends
story.
trope. Yeah, good story,
Like,
by
it
the way.
was such a swerve.
Something I think is really interesting. So we have Susie talking about the family. Now with Toriel presumably being in that dark world, that's kind of a given. But what I wonder, because last year a friend of mine pointed out, so Toriel called the police and Undyne knows Asgore. So is there a possibility that Asgore catches wind that something happened at the house and joins them? Or is there maybe a town interaction with Susie and Asgore? Like there's a lot of possibilities for Susie to just be weirded out by the family.
It could
Yeah,
also be in reference to the cutscene that you watch in Chapter 2 where Asgore goes into Sans' shop.
Oh god.
Oh yeah, doesn't she
And
say
it's
like
just
the
on
same
top
thing?
of that, like dealing with Toriel and the Chapter 3 Dark World and seeing that, and Susie's just like, man, I might not have any parental figures, but yours are weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It'd
have
be funny if Napstablook shows up in Dark World 3 like, hey, I'm the backup.
Yes, I would love to
That would be
see-
really funny.
I have lasting emotional damage from "and your ex-husband." Like, I don't think I'll ever recover from that.
That was a beautiful line. I
That
let
was a
that
beautiful-
hang on that for a good 20
the fact
seconds.
that he comes in
when I
like
played
that,
it.
it's poor Asgore.
Oh,
Asgore's
about
the most
the-
divorced character in fiction.
Indeed.
For sure.
Really is.
But about the Dreamer family, because a recurring joke in Chapter 2 is that Queen doesn't really understand lighters. She just knows them from search results, basically. But it's interesting that in Chapter 3, basically everyone or every item would presumably be very familiar with the Dreamer family. And so I guess there are a lot of opportunities there of basically, whatever Tana or Mike, whatever is there, is someone, everyone there will basically be pretty familiar with Chris. And I think that we're gonna get basically a lot of the lore from that.
I can't wait
I
to,
think that will be the main focus of the chapter, I expect.
I think, Oatsin, there's a parallel there maybe between how Chapter 2 was sort of a Noelle spotlight, because Noelle was the one who maybe would be the most associated with computers and the internet and stuff. So Queen sort of, I feel like Chapter 2 mirrored Noelle more than anyone else, but I think, Chapter 3 mirroring Chris and Asriel and the Dreamer family is a pretty likely possibility there.
Yeah, especially Toriel.
They will be filtered through the lens of the TV the same way the PC was filtering the lens of Noelle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see
and so
that.
maybe something like, maybe after the family went apart, went their own ways, because the TV hasn't been used for a long time. So maybe that's like the only memory that, I don't know, it's a weird thing, but that's the last memory of the TV. Everything that happened since they don't know, and maybe that's like the traumatic
All of these
experience for the
devices are
TV.
close to the characters in different ways.
Yeah.
Noelle spent
Yeah.
a lot of time in the library, it seems.
Yeah, I do
Yeah,
think we're gonna
exactly.
get a lot of backstory about like Chris, just like how they were, because right now it's a little bit mysterious. Obviously, we know that they were like a prankster and everything, but we don't really know that much about them before the events of Deltarune. So it does seem like a lot is going to be explained in the next chapter, because I don't know
It's
what other
pretty-
dark world it would be.
I think it's pretty indicative that we're getting like such big lore drops just from like Noelle's blog and the Sweepstakes ARG, and like that sort of, it's like how little we know really about what Chris was like beforehand, that we're getting all this from Noelle, and it's so revelatory.
Yeah. I'm very curious to see what the birdcage has to say.
Mm-hmm.
Something go ahead. Something
No,
I
go
want.
on, go on.
Something that I find interesting. So we have footage of the Shadow Man in a fight, and Ralsei is there. So I think it's safe to assume he'll yeet himself there the way he did
Good
in
catch.
Cyberworld.
I felt a dark presence.
And he's there
Yeah.
without the hat, right?
Yeah, but what I want to know is like, so does Toriel start out with Susie and Chris, or does she end up somewhere else? Because
Oh, yeah. What's she going to think when she sees Ralsei?
Yeah.
Another thing too is like,
question.
well, Ralsei might not know that Chris made this fountain, or he might, and I think how he reacts to this is going to be interesting, because I could see an end of chapter revelation if Chris is not the Roaring Knight, that the real Roaring Knight makes their first on-screen appearance all mysterious-like, and like comments on how Chris made this fountain and not them. Like that could be some potential drama.
Bold
Yeah,
prediction.
absolutely. No, it's interesting.
We went
I
over
wanna
basically all of the screenshots and stuff posted on the progress update, except for the funny video of Queen sipping, which is really funny. I think it speaks for
I
itself.
love it.
Yeah.
The best thing
Yeah.
about that video, though, by far, is Rules wearing the lampshade in the bottom left, just chilling there.
Yes.
I can imagine you walk up to him and he has dialogue like, "Thou'st worms will never be able to detect me through my elaborate disguise."
I'm
I can
guessing that's
totally
just
see
his
it.
new job. Like he finally got to work for the Queen, but like being a lamp. That was his task.
Because he can produce light, like, when he teleports, so that might just be a power he has.
Yeah.
Also, he
Oh,
simps
man.
for women in power. I mean, he simped for Task Manager as well as Queen, so, like, it's
True.
fitting that he would want to
He's-
serve her.
He's like
Whoa.
most of the
He has
Deltarune
light
fanboys.
powers. As a
I see
Darkner.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I see a lot of people trying
Maybe
to
he
predict.
makes dark light though. Like the that was lore for some reason in the Queen's mansion. It's dark light. It's light like, but it's light, but it's actually
like
dark.
light, but it's stupider and harder to understand.
Watch Rules be the night all
Wait.
along.
Yeah,
I'm still sticking to my Rules Gaster theory, baby. I'm still sticking to it.
Yeah, the what is it? The fountain making sound effect is the same like the Rules teleporting sound effect, but like sped down, right?
Oh, yeah,
it's
actually, good
very
point.
similar.
I didn't even catch that actually.
I'm pretty
the
sure
only thing
it
that
is.
I've really heard about it is the whole like at least the main thing was like Rules card, like Roaring Knight, same
Yep.
initials. That's really the
That's a
the
classic.
extent of what
Yeah,
I've
really
heard about
classic.
it.
The
for sure.
longest section of my Who is
Legit
the Roaring
theory.
Knight video is devoted to Rules card, and I don't regret that.
I think it's pretty funny because you include like every Darkner, and every Darkner except Rules card is like D or F tier.
Yeah, He's the highest tier of Darkner as far as I'm concerned.
I see a lot of people trying to like predict what the hidden boss is going to be by looking at objects in the house, and I'm just like, I have a feeling that's something you're not going to be able to predict, because like Spamton was a corrupted program in a computer. Like we had no way of ever finding that
There's
out.
no foreshadowing.
Yeah,
But
but
a lot of people are going to say Mike, but we really don't know. Spamton seems resistant to the
And
idea that we know
people,
anything about Mike and his Twitter feed. So
I saw a cool
a
piece of fan art with the flowers in the trash
Yeah.
can turning into like super flowy, and I was like, that's a cool idea, but I doubt they're going that way.
yeah, maybe not.
I had like a thought that it might be there's a book of hymns right next to the sofa.
Oh, yeah.
It's because like what is it? What's his name? The fucking
Alvin?
I almost called him Oberon, but Alvin.
Yes.
You mean the
Alvin
knight,
implies-
Alvin, that guy?
Yeah, Alvin, because Alvin in chapter 1, Alvin says that that Ezra used to be in the choir. So that book of hymn presumably is Ezra's, maybe. I don't know.
Could be.
I don't know. And I guess the
Likely.
religion is going to be a pretty important aspect of eventually. in
Yeah.
the story.
Listen, if Deltarune's going to be more like a traditional JRPG, it's got to end with us fighting God.
Exactly.
That's how it works.
Objection, Your Honor. It's in
Yeah.
plain sight. Both the other secret bosses were buried under things.
True.
Yeah, I don't think the book is a good secret boss candidate because it's not secret whatsoever. But
Yeah.
It's like, the lewd purple dragon character. It's like, yeah, I'm sure we're going to meet that character. I'm not so sure it's the secret boss.
Now, something that I and somebody else in my chat were talking about were the 3 things on the TV that Chris and Susie watch before going to sleep. One of them is a weather report.
Yes.
Well, okay, we've got that now.
we got a
Weather
The
weather.
other one
always sticks
was like
together.
purple Godzilla, so I'm 100% expecting Susie to turn into Godzilla and have this big giant battle at some point in the chapter. And the other one is like a cooking
versus
show or something.
Lewd purple
Yes.
dragon.
Actually, let me
Yeah.
see if I can find those assets right now, just because there might be other stuff, but I do remember all of those. I think
it's just those 3, and they rotate.
The
Invasion
cooking
of
show.
the Cat Pedders.
Yeah. That was like one of the movies.
And I see the movie.
Oh, no! Ah!
Oh, dear,
No, not IC, please.
Evil laughter goes here.
yeah.
Icy's
I
going to be
warn you all.
the true final super boss.
I hate
So-
how...
I told you, dog.
Okay, but consider Toriel's room is locked. The secret boss could be something in Toriel's room.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
yeah,
Totally.
if that's the case, then
Could be, yeah.
Holy shit, we're going to fight Toriel's sock drawer.
Oh my god, no.
Scandalous!
Scandalous.
Oh
It's
no.
highly scandalous.
But yeah, I know that Shayy was talking about the whole, like, you know, flowers and I do think there will be. I'd be very surprised if there's no reference to the flowers in the garbage can in the Dark World. It does seem like very, like, everybody's kind of expecting it because they're, like, cast away as like, the secret boss, since they're kind of, like, you know, thrown out and neglected, like, kind of how, like, Spamton was just, like, neglected by the other Darkners and just, like, Jevil was locked away. It does seem like, you know, a little bit too obvious, but hey, maybe. I do think they will play a little bit of a role in the Dark World, though, at the very least.
Yeah, I think it's safe to
That's
say
fair
in general.
logic.
Yeah, there's few enough things in the house that anything that's gotten a text box is going to be referenced somehow. It's just a
Yeah.
question of
Yeah.
how big that reference is going to be.
One thing that I noticed recently, one of the unused items in the game's files is the Dark Gold Band. And my current running crack theory is that that's Toriel's unused wedding ring. So, because it's an unused armor item, right? So I would not be totally surprised if that was what Toriel comes equipped
It behaves as if
Uh,
it were the mannequin.
I'm not familiar with
Might be
the
Spamton's
unused. I'm not familiar with the
Commemorative
unused
ring.
items.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point actually.
Isn't
not-
Spamton's commemorative ring the freeze, or what was it called, the thorn ring? I thought
Yeah,
that
the
was
thorn
the
ring.
implication.
There's a
Yeah.
few of them.
There's the key gen.
Yeah, there's a few unused armor items in the game. Some of them have full
He
text
says at
descriptions.
least buy 2.
Mm.
I'm just
True.
sad we never got the trefoil, which was unused in chapter 1.
If you do failed Snowgrave,
Yeah, you get to
and
keep
then
the.
fight.
Yeah, I'm wondering how they're going to handle that, because you can, if you get the Thorn Ring doing Snowgrave route, and then don't Snowgrave Birdly, you can keep the Thorn Ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in theory, that's what you might have to do if you want to get the Twisted Sword.
Yeah,
You
that
can
was
keep
yeah.
the spells too.
Yeah, you also keep the ability to use Snowgrave.
So
So
there's
that
gonna-
could just
Yeah.
be deleted by a chapter transition.
Maybe,
to be fair.
but
True.
I guess
They
the
could just
alternative
wipe
is that
that.
we end up with like a meta weird route, a weirder route where you
Oh,
do it
man.
halfway, but
But,
it's not quite.
It's like
Mhm.
one of those what game is it? It's like Super Mario World where you have to do like this convoluted setup on the first screen to glitch to the end of the game. It's I'm imagining
Oh,
a
that's-
weird route.
Oh,
with, like, the
Mario
weirdest-
3?
I hope
Yeah.
not.
Mario 3,
I want
yeah.
my 1 foot in the Snowgrave route.
1 foot in the
Yeah.
Snowgrave. That's good.
I think
It'd be
that's
weird.
worth. I think that's a
Sorry, yeah.
worthwhile save file to keep going into chapter.
I do
3.
think
Yeah.
that like if you haven't met the weird route requirements, they might wipe your ability to cast Snowgrave between chapters.
Yeah, we'll
Because,
have to
uh,
wait and see.
Because if you cast Snowgrave in a regular battle, it kills things. It just murders
I will stay
things.
determined
Yeah.
anyway.
Everybody's
Think
like,
about the,
look at this
um,
unused animation for enemies dying. No, it's not unused. It's in the game.
Okay,
get
but
it
what's
too.
It's
interesting
kinda
is
weird.
that animation was in Chapter 1's
Blood
original
Mist.
demo.
Yeah.
True.
But you can actually access it through. Well, they've tried to fix all of the ways that you can access it. I may have.
I remember this was
Nailed
on
them some
a
bugs.
comment response stream we did months ago where we went back and forth. I kept asking chat. They said it's patched out. They patched it back in. They patched it out. They patched it back in again. It was like,
The animation has never
I
been
need
touched.
to make a
just the
video on
way-
that sometime.
Just the
Oh,
way that
cool.
you're able to do it. There was an
Yeah.
oversight where you could
Yeah.
abort Snowgrave on Birdly, then go back and it would cause the cheese mouse maze to respawn because Snowgrave route is done with. And you just walk into that and cast Snowgrave on those poor little bastards and they die.
Yeah,
Huh.
precisely.
It'd be interesting if, like,
But they
I doubt
fixed
this
that.
would happen. Yeah, I doubt this would happen, but it would be crazy if, like, you only had, like, one Snowgrave per save file, so, like, you could abort the Snowgrave to try and, like, Snowgrave somebody else besides Birdly in a future
that
chapter,
actually,
although...
like, you're joking, but that makes sense in terms of the psychology, because how do you get access to Snowgrave in the first place is you have to put Noelle into this very specific kind of messed up
Mental,
psychological
yeah.
state. And afterward, she's not going to do that again willingly because she sort of snaps out of it by the end of Chapter 2's Weird Route. So I think that would
They
actually make
fixed
sense
it,
in
but
canon.
added ghost cheese as an accidental side effect.
Ghost cheese?
I'm not
That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
But
I'm not
yeah,
as
it basically
up-to-date.
if Noelle used Snowgrave in Chapter 2 and you can continue on that save file, I don't think there would be a way to get her to cast it again.
Yeah.
naturally.
Yeah, I think there is definitely a world where it makes sense. I guess, like, the main thing for me is, like, just how much, like, it would require, like, a lot of, like, work, I guess. Or it would be, like, so obscure, but I guess the Snowgrave run itself wasn't even found for, like, a day, basically, so...
Oh yeah, when
I
it
mean,
was first found,
it could
people were
happen.
like, "This sounds fake."
Yeah, no,
I-
it sounded like such a fever dream to me. Like, I literally did a run of just, like, the neutral route, and then people were like, oh my gosh, there's, like, a route where you, like, kill everyone with Noelle, and then you kill Birdly, and I'm like, this has to be, like, some playground rumor type stuff.
It
Okay,
sounds like
this
a
is-
wish fulfillment. Like, you get to kill Birdly.
Oh yeah,
I'm
this
a
is a
little
perfect
surprised
segue
it took
actually.
us so long. Lancer
Um,
gives us hints about it.
Oh, that's
What?
actually really interesting.
Doesn't
Uh,
I don't remember now.
If
What-
you
what
look
does
at him in
Lancer
your
say?
inventory, he says dialogue depending on which part of the story you're in, and some of it hints at Snowgrave.
That's
Oh, wow.
wow. Yeah, I think it took at least 2 or 3 days, but I remember the night it was discovered, there was like a Google Doc being made in real time, and my friend Nisha did a live stream of it and was one of the first people to get full route footage.
Nice.
Hey, Sam.